Once upon a time, in a little cheerful town called Gigglewood, there lived a boy named Timmy. Timmy was not an adventurer, not a knight, not a prince, and definitely not a superhero. He was just a funny, clumsy, silly boy who loved two things more than anything in the world: cookies and making people laugh. Timmy had the kind of smile that made everyone around him giggle. Even when he wasn't trying, he somehow always did something funny. His hair stuck up like he had been electrocuted, his socks never matched, and whenever he tried to whistle, it sounded like a squeaky rubber duck. Timmy lived with his grandma, Granita, who was the funniest grandma in the world. She wore giant glasses that were so big they looked like two magnifying glasses glued together. Granny Dot had one rule in her house. Laughter was the most important thing. Every morning she would shout, "No grumpy faces allowed." And if someone was grumpy, she would tickle them until they couldn't stop laughing. One day, Timmy woke up and realized that it was his school's Silly Hat Day. Every kid was supposed to wear the silliest hat they could find. Timmy wanted to win the contest for the silliest hat. He searched all over his room. He tried wearing a bucket on his head, but it made his ears hurt. He tried a giant bowl, but his grandma wanted to use it for popcorn later. Finally, he decided to tape spoons, forks, and even a frying pan to an old baseball cap. When he walked out of his room, his hat jingled and clanged with every step. Granny Dot gasped, then laughed so hard that she nearly fell off her rocking chair. "Timmy," she cried, "you look like a walking kitchen." At school, everyone stared. Some kids wore hats shaped like animals, some had hats covered in glitter, and one girl wore a hat that looked like a giant hamburger. But when Timmy walked in with his kitchen hat, the whole class burst into laughter. Even the teacher, Miss Pickles, who was usually very serious, snorted milk out of her nose because she was drinking while Timmy walked in. Timmy didn't win the contest though, because Principal Jolly wore a hat shaped like a toilet with a fake rubber duck floating inside. Still, Timmy was proud that he made everyone laugh. After school, Timmy went to his friend Benny's house. Benny was a very chubby boy who loved food almost as much as Timmy loved cookies. Benny had a little dog named Noodle who loved to wear clothes. Timmy had an idea. "Let's put socks on Noodle's ears," he whispered. Benny giggled, and together they carefully slid socks onto the dog's floppy ears. Noodle looked in the mirror and barked at his own reflection. Then he ran in circles so fast that he slid across the kitchen floor and knocked over Benny's mom's pie. Instead of getting angry, Benny's mom laughed so hard that she dropped the spoon she was holding. Noodle stood proudly with socks flapping on his ears like he was about to fly. The next day, Timmy's class had a spelling bee. Timmy wasn't the best speller. In fact, he once spelled banana with 14 N's just because he thought it looked funnier. But this time he tried really hard. When it was Timmy's turn, the teacher said, "Timmy, your word is elephant." Timmy stood up, cleared his throat, and said loudly, "Elefart." The room went silent for a moment, and then the entire class exploded with laughter. Even Miss Pickles couldn't stop giggling. "Timmy," she said between chuckles, "that's not how you spell elephant, but that's definitely the funniest spelling I've ever heard." From then on, the kids started calling elephants elefarts. And even though Timmy got the word wrong, everyone loved it. At home, Granny Dot was baking her famous triple chocolate chunky cookie cakes. Timmy sneaked into the kitchen and tried to steal one while it was cooling. But Granny Dot had eyes like a hawk. "Timmy!" she shouted. "Don't you dare!" Timmy froze, cookie halfway to his mouth. He tried to hide it behind his back, but Granny Dot could see crumbs on his face. "I wasn't eating it, Granny," Timmy said innocently. "The cookie was, flying into my mouth all by itself." Granny Dot rolled her eyes, then laughed and gave him 2 cookies anyway. Timmy's funniest moment came at the town fair. Every year, Gigglewood held a fair where kids played games, ate cotton candy, and entered contests. Timmy signed up for the pie-eating contest. The rule was simple: eat as many pies as you can in 5 minutes. Timmy sat at the table with Benny and a few other kids. When the whistle blew, everyone started stuffing pies into their mouths. Timmy tried his best, but instead of eating, most of the pie ended up on his face, his hair, and even on the poor judge sitting nearby. At one point, Timmy sneezed right into a blueberry pie, and blueberries went flying everywhere like tiny purple fireworks. The crowd roared with laughter. By the end of the contest, Timmy had eaten only 1.5 pies, but his face looked like a blueberry monster. The judges gave him a special award for silliest pie eater. After the fair, Timmy and Benny walked home, both covered in pie and giggling non-stop. Benny said, "Timmy, you're the funniest kid in the whole world." Timmy grinned and replied, "That's because I don't try to be funny. It just happens." From that day on, everyone in Gigglewood knew Timmy as the boy who could turn any situation into a laugh. If the teacher dropped her chalk, Timmy would somehow trip and fall on it. If the mayor gave a serious speech, Timmy's hiccups would echo so loudly that even the mayor laughed. He wasn't a superhero, but he had a superpower, the power of making people smile. And so, every night before bed, Timmy would look in the mirror, cross his eyes, puff up his cheeks, and make the silliest face possible until he laughed himself to sleep. And somewhere, deep down, everyone in Gigglewood was thankful to have a boy like Timmy, because life with him around was never boring, never sad, and always funny.